Hello, everybody. It's Wednesday, 8 o'clock. We are Debate Sensei. We got Matt Shapiro, Esquire.
Hello.
I'm Jared Kubika Miller, your debate coach, communications professor. Yeah, Tim Seavey is at a bris right now. He is,
in Hawaii.
Well, he does his marketing thing, but
Yeah.
he's also a rabbi. So,
and it's only 5
he's
o'clock
actually
there.
performing the bris. He's actually doing the whole thing. You know what I mean? So. So, anyways. Oh man, so we're talking about new media and debate. And I know we already talked about debating online, but I wanted to talk a little bit broader about how all the new media technology is affecting debate in more ways than just like tournaments, you know what I mean, or how tournaments are run or something like that. And so that was the whole impetus behind this. And I'll start us off with a definition. All right, we got to define new media. You ever heard of new media as a term, Matt?
I've heard the term. Yes, definitely have heard the term. But I don't necessarily know what it means. I mean,
yeah, you know what I mean? Like people use it like a term of art, you know what I mean? And so I think it gets used a lot of different ways. But there is, I think I was looking into a book called Understanding New Media.
There you go.
And it's called written by Eugenia. I think it's Sapera. I hope
Shapiro.
I'm not. No. Yeah, Shapiro. But I was reading that, and that definition. I love definitions that break things down into different parts. Okay. It's like, well, new media is
new.
Yeah,
media.
Yeah. Well, like the new part, like I do like how they define it in the textbook, but the three parts are like digital, online, social.
Okay.
All right. And so and then there's like this X factor. It's three parts plus an X factor. And I think that's a pretty fair. And so the X factor is like this, like the novelty. It's like when you use these three components in novel ways.
I mean, I think all these people, the fact that they are so new makes every experience almost a novel way, I guess, in some weird way. But
I mean, yeah, but it like that's why we do all this stuff, with Debate Sensei, like all of our content and everything like that, is because like when I basically was a professional during the time when video technology just became everywhere. It used to be
ubiquitous.
It used to be so expensive, and it used to take so long to get to share it, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And so and all the formats sucked so bad, and then I'm just like, oh my God, video is getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. What does that mean for debate? Was it interesting?
When you say video, I mean, exactly, you're talking about like the ability to get a video onto a computer and onto the internet.
Yeah, video cameras started becoming accessories.
Okay. I think one of the big things is the phone, right? Let's talk about what I mean. I'm not. I realize I don't want to sound. I am very privileged individual. I admit all of that. But a lot of people have phones, okay, and like phones in general have a camera on them, and they're this massive piece of computing technology, which I mean, to be perfectly honest, I mean, I've seen homeless people on the street with like cell phones with, iPhones and stuff. So people have cameras on them, and these cameras, whether with a Wi-Fi or with data plans or whatever, you can get video content onto the internet asynchronously. I mean, that's a special word we use, but like you can record a video of yourself and upload it. And in the world we live in now, obviously, Zoom, one of the big things I was going to talk about, it's funny, Jared and I have had many conversations. The pandemic has, exploded, exacerbated so many problems that I'm not going to say debate doesn't have problems inherently, but you can kind of solve problems with the internet that, Jared and I have kind of discussed over years at this point, that have been, a magnifying glass has been put on them using under the pandemic conditions. And it's funny because we're all, again, let's just premise this whole new media, everything. we want everything to get back to normal as soon as possible. I can't wait to go spend a weekend at a tournament and see someone win a sweepstakes award and all that stuff. But there's just room for new media, for technology, for a little bit of a new understanding of how technology can be utilized in debate to kind of push forward, if nothing else, the amount of times we can debate, the experiences we have, and the interactions we have, especially with other people.
So one of the things I was going towards with the video and debate is that getting to record yourself and watch the tape afterwards, was kind of like, that was a big thing. It was an ordeal. You had to get, a camcorder and a tripod, or just somebody holding the camera. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
you need a camera, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's the first.
You know what I mean? But like doing this is not was not.
Yeah, I mean, and to defend, all the people who put things together in the world, some people realize you hit record, you put it on you prop it up on a stair somewhere, and you record yourself in a bathroom. But
so my point is that it changed the way that we practice, not just the way that we compete. You know what I mean? And
100%.
So, that. I think that's interesting.
That's such a big part of kind of what we're proponents of, is the understanding that the way we compete, it stays the same, but we're just kind of increasing the number of practice times or interactions with students or teachers. I mean, that's the kind of key that the internet provides, because everyone needs to go home. Everyone has to, or at least tries to get home at some decent hour for whatever reason they have. And, whether it be homework or whether it be forensics and stuff, like you're able to get in a 10-minute period or 15 minutes with another person if you schedule it. And during a time that you wouldn't normally be able to. That's the first, Zoom.
Well,
I don't want to.
About how you can, like, as a coach, you can, share those videos with other people.
Yeah.
Like if I, like, as a coach, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to put together a 1AC, and I'm going to send it to each of my debaters, and I'm going to have them respond to it. It's like that would have been a tremendous ordeal prior to all this new media technology.
I'll shift it a little bit. I'm a consumer of some degree of social media. I'm a Redditor myself.
Right.
And there's a Reddit, Reddit is all full of subreddits for those of you who don't know. And one of the subreddits is r/debate. And that there's 41,000 people in there or something like that. And, one thing I've noticed, even just in that content community, I mean, there's a lot more inter-school communication. I think, before new media, social media, even Instagram, all this stuff.
It's not just social media. So like I wanted to talk about a few.
No, I know. I'm just using that as, let's just go there. That's what everyone's on Instagram watching this right now anyway, not watching us on their phones. But my point is there are communities that are transcending schools, because I think probably for the vast majority of history, people kind of dealt with the people in their schools, and after they go to a few tournaments, they meet some people, and maybe they have a little network where they share information, plans, cards, whatever you want to call it, share knowledge of debate and tricks and tactics. Now there's this whole online community, whether it be on Reddit, whether it be obviously probably on Instagram and Facebook and all these things, where you can link up with people very easily and have kind of very deep discussions, whether it be online, texting, Facebook messaging, Instagram, DMing, or a thread on some chat somewhere, a thread on a feed somewhere. So much information is available, which often, can be very up to date as well. I mean, people can, and old,
Well, so the research end of it, but like you touched upon something right now, like the socializing aspect, like I'm wondering, because it's been so long since I've been a student, you know what I mean? Attending
so long.
Like it's
an era.
Like you would go there, and like the whole point in between rounds was to find someone that you hadn't talked to in a long time. But
yeah,
if you talk to that person every day, you know what I mean? I'm wondering
You're sick of that person. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like how, I mean, how much of a demand do you really need, to meet up? Cause you've already talked about all that sort of stuff. like, actually seeing someone face to face for however long. It's like you've already kind of exchanged all those things. I'm wondering how like it affects the socializing. New media also includes I think one of the most interesting parts of new media is like dating apps.
Definitely.
Like like I've never.
We should meet. I'll take the affirmative.
I have never signed up for a dating. I've never had to. Right. I was married before, like when the first one came out. And so they're fascinating to me. I think that it's amazing. But now I'm wondering, because there used to be something called GDS.
And what does that mean?
Good debater syndrome.
Oh, okay. Thank goodness.
Like the people who like were winning were kind of like seen as, as additional attraction to them. I'm like, I wonder how like dating apps might affect that. I wonder if people put debate in their profiles on dating apps, like
I've never seen it.
No.
No, I'm just kidding. I have it on mine.
Like, why would you?
Bold.
Why would you do
Gold.
that,
Public forum traditional style. 2014.
But I'm wondering, like, because I mean, weirder things have happened, on dating apps. You know what I mean? People have like ways.
I think a dating app is always a debate. I mean, every time every conversation strikes up on a dating app, it's an affirmative and a negative. I think I want to meet you. I think I don't want to meet you. Convince me I'm wrong. They're the judge and the other team.
But like another part, so new media touches on so many things. Gaming, like
Discord.
Yeah. I mean, like, hell, we're on Twitch right now.
We're on Twitch right now. Hello, everyone on Twitch.
I don't know if we got anyone. Yeah, we got someone watching.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And so like I mean, there's chess players on Twitch.
Jared, what's your point?
How many, like, at what point do you have like, like debates on there like this? You know what I mean?
No, I mean, it's funny. Okay, let me redirect for 1 second, but it's relevant. So recently I've discovered a bunch of courthouses are blasting, a courthouse is full of courtrooms, and courtrooms are technically, unless there's something going on special with the case, they're public areas. Like you can walk in and watch them. Well, it just so happens that they put them on the internet, and they have webcams in courtrooms. And traffic court, by the way, traffic court. If you're bored, go watch some traffic court between 9:45 and 5 o'clock. But hold on, let me get back to my point. If you think about how the potential of having debates, even in real tournaments, when I say real, I mean synchronous at a location, NDT. Imagine NDT being broadcast in a very clear, beautiful way with some consideration based on the way it's presented on a camera to the world. So that way the 30 people in the room get to show their life, or the 100 people, but you could have 7,000 people watching. And to make that experience enjoyable to a YouTube viewer or a person on social media who just so happens to catch you in that minute and go, hey, you know what? This is really interesting. I want to watch this. I haven't done policy debate in 10 years, but I'm going to watch this right now. That gateway, so much of it is aesthetic through the media, right? I mean, it's presentational communication, as we talk about on this channel quite a bit. It's not necessarily considered in traditional old school ways to look at it, because it's kind of like, look, we're not here to put this on for anyone else other than who's in this room. And I guess I can respect that. But at this point, we all, after the pandemic especially, we all have cameras, webcams, everything set up to where, every final round can be broadcast, and you could be able to watch it from your grandma in Alaska could watch it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't have a grandmother in Alaska, but if she did.
Well, but like, one of the things that was difficult about like partnerships in debate was
partnerships. Yes.
Yeah. Like over like long distances. I'm wondering if there's like more hybrid teams going out there, or, like there is, because sometimes people would just, they meet someone from halfway across the country, and they're like, you know what, let's go to this one tournament, let's be a team together. Like, no reason you can't do that like all the time now. You know what I mean? Because you could practice, over long distances all the time. And so you could have the same amount of like, well, not the same, but like you could still develop a chemistry and a predictability between you and your partner, and clean up when you go to tournaments.
Imagine like someone debating and then they just put their MacBook up there and like let their partner deliver the member speech from like some other place. Like, thank you for being here. I am in, Bangladesh with my family this week.
Debaters are in the room and there's just one that's phoning it in.
I mean, that it's funny because all of it is totally acceptable in my mind. If I was in a round and someone put their partner up there from some faraway place on a computer, I would not necessarily just shoot them down immediately. But like, it's funny how these things might come up in the future, and they're a product of this technology. They're a product of youth and old people like you, Jared, all getting familiar with, how to use technology that's literally, armed and loaded on them 24 hours a day. There's very few reasons to be late. That's the one funny thing, right? About Zoom anything or remote. It's like, why are you late? Like, you're at your house. You have no reason to be late right now. So
the media, like the landscape is into traditional media has also changed. Like all the names of these, it used to be that all the newspapers it still primarily is, but it was basically all geographical, and now like all the names like have no reference to any sort of,
and they want so much money.
Yeah. Now, I mean, like, so and once like online news is becoming more and more popular, there's more and more paywalls going up now. You know what I mean? Like I remember New York Times being one of the first ones to do it. Washington Post, like you can't read anything off of their stuff.
The Washington Post is very good at writing headlines that I want to buy the Washington Post for. I think they're the best. I think they pay the most to headline writers.
Yeah.
But I do. And by the way, everyone, I do pay for a couple of subscriptions to some news services. I don't want to mention which ones they are because of the political repercussions that are entailed at this point in the world. But just know that you should pay for some news. They're doing some good hard work, and they deliver it straight to your door instantly from the moment they create it electronically. So, hey, maybe it's the Washington Post.
I upped for the Apple News, and Apple News, has a collection.
A bunch.
Yeah, and you can get a bunch. And I mean, the layout's pretty nice, and I was tired of just hitting paywalls all the time, and so it helps. It doesn't do like some of the big ones though. You still need to get those direct subscriptions. But
it's funny because that's here's another thing about new media. I mean, the whole world is a subscription now, which is kind of crazy. It's kind of a way of the world. And it's funny. Remember back in the day, 100 years ago, when you could buy Microsoft Word for like $500? Do you remember that? It was like you buy it and it's
you go into Fry's, you get a box. It has like a bunch of discs.
So it's kind of like
all right, put in disc number 4.
It almost pays out because by the time you need to get them updated, that's the biggest thing now. It's just the media that we do use is constantly being updated by moderators and people who are controlling, its content. Kind of it's funny how it translates to the user. Me and you, a person at home, and debate where I guess let's just try to bring this back. You brought up cheating, by the way, in your list of things you talked about today. How does all this media what were you thinking?
Okay, so I've sat on a few meetings where people are talking about the rules for certain tournaments and things like that, and they're worried about people being able to access information, more information than their opponent, and in parley rounds where you're allowed to reference any materials outside the round, but once you come into the chambers, it's supposed to be just what were you able to write down, what were you able to collect during that, and that's it, right? Yeah. And so they're worried about somebody being able to look something up on their phone, conceal it, put it under the desk or something like that, finding a piece of information that might help, give them an edge, in their rebuttal or something like that.
Yeah.
or having, like we were talking about subscriptions, about there might be certain schools that just have a massive amount of subscriptions and the other ones don't, and so how are we going to make sure that there's equity in this event?
Access to news articles. That's actually really interesting. My biggest when I thought of cheating, I mean, you all heard of like the Astros recently, who like in live time they were using binoculars, whatever, from deep behind home plate in the stands, and they'd see something, they'd signal someone with technology, and they'd bang on a trash can, and the batter knew what the heck was coming, right? That live time is what made me, when I thought of cheating with new media, I was thinking, imagine if I, so
or
many
like
kids,
an earpiece,
like it's not. Let's start with this flowing. People flow on computers now. That's almost old news at this point, right? But by bringing that piece of technology into a room with access to, say, a Wi-Fi or whatever, you could technically be broadcasting your opponent's speech straight to your teacher. Say, let's just go most egregious case. You could send your, contemporaneously with time passing, they could listen to the arguments. And like Jared said, I even have sneaky little head ears thing in right now. You could make it or instant messaging. That's the bigger thing too, right? You would be looking at a screen, and so a teacher or a person, a cheating partner, could be live time telling you what to say while you're looking at the screen that no one else is looking at, speaking to the crowd.
They have debate robots. IBM had a debate, like that it can actually interact with human conversation.
Really?
I mean, I'm really interested in what sort of programming the approach they took to a project like that.
We worry about that. I mean, I don't mean to constantly be dragging this back into what I work and stuff for me, but depositions. Okay, deposition is where an oral deposition is where you go in and there's testimony given, and an attorney asks questions, and in the responses is evidence, basically, from a witness. So in a deposition, traditionally, back in the day, you'd be in a room with someone, so you could see everything that they're doing, everything their attorney is doing, everything the court reporter is doing. You'd watch them. You'd see their whole physical body in front of you in a room. Now, so many of them are remote, and what people worry about is, imagine having, even as simple as an instant messaging app in front of you, where I ask you a question, Jared's supposed to answer the question. Jared is looking at the camera like he's supposed to, but it says, "No, I don't remember." And then boom, you just say, "No, I don't remember." And now all of a sudden you are being coached word for word on how to answer questions, how to, equivalent to cross-ex. Imagine having someone in your head on cross-ex who's just telling you the answers. That would effectively be cheating. I think that's about the most egregious form of cheating I can imagine in debate. So that's possible with new media and technology.
But I mean, watch a lot of chess, and so when people are on there playing, one of the things is catching people who are using the chess engines while they're playing in order to look like they're.
What's a chess engine? I'm sorry, I don't know what that means.
It tells you what moves to use.
A computer, basically.
Yeah, okay. It's a computer. Yeah, a chess robot. You know what I mean? And so,
how does it tell you? Like a tap? Is there some sort of vibration?
You'll be on the screen with, you're playing someone on this screen, and they'll have another screen right here, and they'll just make the move, and then it will say, "Do this move next," and they're like, "All right." And then when you just tell the robot what your opponent's moves are, and the robot tells you what moves to make.
So you're not actually doing anything. That is the biggest fear, right? Okay, we just nailed it on the head. What's the worst thing that can happen? No one's doing anything. We don't learn anything. Cheating with new media is like the bounds are endless, but then, and the result of which would be you'd have kids who are really good at cheating and have no idea how to debate, which would be bad. I don't know how you feel about that, Jared, but I'm against it.
I mean, yeah, having robots debate against each other and then hand out awards to humans would be it would be a weird sort of ritual, right?
Unless the humans win.
Yeah.
Unless the humans win. Then we're all good.
Yeah. but
I'm biased.
It might be the same thing as like, you know, I wonder how statistically driven debates are going to be in the future. And I don't mean like the arguments that you make. I mean like how much data they can collect in real time. You know what I mean?
It'd be cool.
Like
Imagine we were talking. I was talking about projecting these like championship final rounds like in a great video to the world. Imagine if the winner was like, there's room for corruption, but imagine if the winner was of everyone got to vote for like 2 days, and then the accumulation of 1,000 votes or however many people voted would be the winner. Again, I get there's grounds for abuse. There's idealistically though, if you could track IPs and make sure everyone got one vote, that would be cool. That would be very cool to have a winner be the result of hundreds or thousands of people voting for a winner. That would be cool. That would be very cool. And even if the voters were dispersed across the country and were judges or something like that, I don't know. I just mean there's potential for things that
so I think we're kind of like, talking. So these are where like new media discussions go, right? Where they're kind of like you start with what we can do, and then you start talking about.
We're so limited by what we think we know, right? I mean, that's kind of where it starts. We're like, well, everything's different now, and we have a bunch of cameras everywhere recording.
But the possibilities on how you organize who talks to who in what order and on what topic is exactly what new media does. And I don't think it has tapped into all of the possibilities when it comes to debate. It's like I think there's a whole lot of more possibilities about how new media is going to affect debate. And then like I don't know. I foresee a lot of new versions of debate, a lot of different sort of types. You know what I mean? We already have a lot that are based off of that. The main difference is like the topic and the number of people and how long those speeches are. Like those are the main differences.
How many times you do one resolution?
Yeah.
That's a pretty constant difference between the so many of them are one all year long, and some in Parley. We're all huge fans of Parley. We're also fans of policy. We're fans of all debate, but they change. And Public Forum does one per tournament, so you'll do everyone up to 6, 7, 8 times on one. Whereas policy, you'll do 100 rounds over a year on one, and Parley you'll maybe get 1 round on one. You know what I mean? So that's one. I don't know. Just to kind of harken back to kind of what I was saying earlier too about, I like how people are talking more. I remember at my school when back in the old days in 2008, back when I was at SEC for the first time, there was no, at least I didn't know of any big communities online, for instance, where I could talk to people who were also doing this. So it starts with your school, and you met the 5, 10 people, 20 people at your school, and then of those, the 4 or 5 are doing exactly what you were doing.
Yeah.
Or less.
Oh, that's interesting. Like, I wonder if that like makes it difficult on coaches too, because like there's so much information that like students can go find other things that
even YouTube. If you think about it, like anyone could be a goober at this point if they just watched everything on YouTube that they could watch on something. Like I have no doubt about it. You could probably figure it out. But that being said, there's quite a bit lacking. And let's just shamelessly plug our own stuff here. DebateSensei, we make some good multimedia, new media content if you're trying to teach forensics or argumentation classes, public speaking classes, and hopefully interpersonal and other forms of communications to come. Isn't that right, Jared?
But like online learning is definitely a really large part of new media, like learning management systems and learning tool integrations.
Not a textbook.
It's upending. It's definitely upending textbooks, but debate in particular was never really well suited for the textbook industry, because teaching debate was always such like you know, like I'd say it's almost like, you know, like different schools of thought, you know, and
it's a very personal thing, coach. I mean,
but
and
I think
that's
the variety that
yeah.
new media offers, you know, the flexibility that it offers, you might see a lot more sort of formal writing and literature, like if they embrace the new media as the platform rather than traditional
and
publishing.
even beyond the content of like lessons and stuff like that, the ability to assign students and to know that they are actually participating in online debate coursework, let's just call it that, or online interactive, whether it be, you know, speeches or reviewing, you know, peer review judging, whatever it is, having processes beyond just a Zoom. What I wanted to kind of end on, and I'll end it right now, is just, you know, Zoom is amazing. It does a lot of things, but you're kind of trusting everyone to kind of do what they said they would do. You have no method of like tracking progress with just assigning people to do Zoom stuff. So, you know, there are avenues beyond what the tools that are freely available at this point. And that's kind of the interesting niches that I think entrepreneurs or whoever it is in debate and other communities will kind of tailor themselves to in new media and technology.
All right. So, hey, that's our time, everybody. All right. I think, yeah. And so next week, I got some ideas for it, but we'll see you next week with Matt Shapiro, Esquire. I am Jared Kabika Miller, your debate coach, professor. We'll see you later.
See you, Tim.